Hey there, my name is Sage and you are watching D&D Daily. Today I'm doing the first in a new series called Monster Showcase. The monster we're showcasing today are Gnolls. In today's video we're going to take a look at Gnolls lore, how to run them in combat, and some storytelling opportunities they may present. To think of a Gnoll as an individual is a mistake. All Gnolls are extensions of their demonic god, Yeenoghu, and are thus better thought of as a natural disaster than an individual. You will find no separate personality between two Gnolls. They are all one in mind, soul, and intention. That intention is to eat and to destroy. Gnolls are unbearably hungry, and the only thing that calms that hunger is the flesh of intelligent humanoids. Animal flesh will keep them alive, but it will in no way satisfy them. Gnolls specifically target the weakest enemies and avoid the strongest until they are heavily outnumbered. They will never show mercy, they will never take prisoners. All they will do is kill and eat. Gnolls don't reproduce so much as they spread like a disease. Certain members of the GNOLL Warband will be blessed by Yeenoghu, becoming a Fang of Yeenoghu. Hyenas will follow the Fang, waiting for it to kill a humanoid. Once it does, the hyenas will feed on the corpse. This completes the ritual and will transform these hyenas into new Gnolls, which is a pretty gross process. But a single Fang of Yeenoghu in the right situation can spike the population of a Gnoll Warband. Gnoll Warbands are an incredible headache for a kingdom to deal with because they won't attack fortified positions, but rather attack defenseless villages, leaving no survivors to tell the tale. Whole villages will just go missing, and when investigators are sent to figure out what happened, they'll find clear signs that it was Gnolls, but the Gnolls won't be there anymore because they're constantly on the move. Now that we know what Gnolls are about, let's create our own warband to infest our world. I like to think about a Gnoll Warband in three sections. There's the Vanguard, which consists of Gnoll Hunters, the Reserves, which consists of Gnoll Fleshgnarrs, and the main body, which contains every other aspect of the warband. In every warband there is going to be warriors, Fangs of Yeenoghu, hunters, Fleshgnarrs, and hyenas. They make up the core of the warband. Warriors are the basic infantry of the warband and represent the basic tactics of Gnolls. Get in close and attack the weakest enemy you can see. Once dead, use the Rampage feature, a feature all Gnolls and hyenas share, which allows the monsters to make a bite attack as a bonus action after reducing a creature to 0 HP. This obviously incentivizes us to attack the weakest because the more often we're getting a kill, the more attacks we get. The Fang of Yeenoghu will follow the exact same pattern with only one difference. They will be trailed by a pack of hyenas waiting to feast so that they can transform into new Gnolls. The Fang of Yeenoghu will also do everything the warrior will do, but will do it better. Gnoll Hunters are the most complex tactically speaking of the Gnolls. Their primary jobs are to scout ahead and to remove anyone who may alert nearby towns, and to kill any Gnolls too weak to move with the pack. The Hunters will create a radius around the main pack, being both the forward vanguard and to cover the rear of the pack. Their longbows also have the unique ability which lowers the speed of the target hit. They will specifically target anyone running away so the rest of the warband can catch up to them and eat them. That said, Hunters are hungry too. I kind of see them getting through halfway through the fight where they're, tactically shooting people running away before they just get too hungry and they get overwhelmed by their need to feed. So I see about halfway through the combat, after they've got a few stragglers and they see there's dead bodies lying around, that they would stop being useful archers and they'd just become as feral as the rest of the pack. At that point, they would move in and start chewing on the corpses like all the other Gnolls, ignoring their bows. Gnoll Fleshgnarrs have an ability called Sudden Rush. As an action, they can increase their speed by 60 feet for a total of 90 feet, and they become immune to opportunity attacks. How they use this ability is to wait for the warriors, Fangs, and hyenas, basically the main body of the force, to create chaos, separating their prey from one another. Once they find an isolated enemy, especially one that's running away, they will spring forward, moving straight through the front lines to decimate their prey. So basically they wait behind the main body until there's chaos, and once there's chaos, they find isolated or fleeing enemies, rush right towards them and get the kills. This gives the Gnoll Warband a feeling of two attacks. There's the first wave, which is the main warband, followed by all of the Gnoll Fleshgnarrs rushing forward, which is the second wave. The basic hyenas act just like a warrior, except they always follow the Fangs. After the battle, they will feast on any corpse the Fang performs this dark ritual on, becoming a new Gnoll. A warband without a leader will infight, and their numbers will be reduced by half. And if they have a particularly strong leader, their numbers might be doubled as more Gnoll Warbands join them. So let's move into some potential leaders for the Gnoll Warband. The first one is a Pack Lord. It's basically a Gnoll warrior, but stronger. You run them in the exact same way. They attack the weakest first, then move on to the strongest afterwards. They have the ability to incite a rampage as a reaction from one of their allies, but getting 2 attacks is usually just better. So they have to give up their 2 attacks to give one of their weaker allies that attack, so it's just better for it to attack more often than not. And on top of that, I just don't see a Gnoll missing its opportunity to bite something in favor of letting someone else bite something. No, it wants to bite them, so I don't see it using that feature often. Some of these pack lords are even taught by Yeenoghu how to summon demons, so there are cases where demons will be part of your warband. However, the peak of Gnoll leadership is a Flind. Once a Flind takes leadership, the Gnolls fall into line, and this is the case where you would have double the size of a warband. The main difference between the Flind and any other Gnoll is it likes to run with a bigger pack. It doesn't like to isolate and to have its own meal. It wants to find where the biggest bulk of Gnolls are, and that's where it hangs out. It still, however, targets the weakest enemy it can, moving upwards in strength once they're more outnumbered. Unlike other Gnolls, the Flind gets 3 attacks, each of which delivers a nasty status or does a truckload of damage. On top of this, any Gnoll within 10 feet of the Flind will get to use its Rampage feature even if it hasn't killed an enemy this turn, which is why it's incentivized to be in the middle of the pack. The Flind is one nasty beast, and since it has no incentive to keep your party alive, think twice before you send it at your party because it might kill them. So you might expect a giant force of consuming chaos wouldn't have many allies, but in this case, yeah. There are some people that actually have a reason to align with Gnolls. Creatures who resonate with either the mass destruction of the world or just want to eat end up going along with the pack. Demons, ghouls, and trolls are all likely candidates. 2 special mentions here are witherlings or cultists. Witherlings are the result of the pack eating one of their own and then performing dark rituals on the bones, raising them from the dead to serve. They will serve as part of the main pack, just like the warriors do. They get an ability called Vengeful Strike, which allows them to make an attack as a reaction when a Gnoll dies within 30 feet of them. Cultists are humanoids that for whatever reason decided to join a warband. The other Gnolls treat them just like a Gnoll so long as they act just like one. Cultists are usually underlings and are rare on their own, but an even rarer occurrence is cultists rising to the rank of warband leader. This can spell dangerous times because they may mix intelligence and tactical thinking with the Gnoll's desire of destruction and consumption, a dangerous combination indeed. Moving into the tactics of this warband, as mentioned before, they're going to target the weakest first, but in a simplistic way. They will look at the size of the enemy and how armored they are and decide off that. This broadly works, but in niche situations like a monk or a wizard who's using shield, it probably won't, and they aren't smart enough to adapt. So they will just continue trying to attack the smallest thing until they're dead, moving up. No matter how small the Gnoll encounter is, I would respect the 3 different elements of the warband. Even if there is only 1 hunter, 1 warrior, and 1 flesh gnawer, I would still apply them in that tactical way that the whole warband would. Moving into storytelling opportunities that Gnolls can provide, I think the core and classical Gnoll encounter is to have the Gnolls attack the village your party is in. Do this right. Introduce your party to a small village. Have them spend a few sessions there getting to know the locals and doing a quest or 2. Take time to flesh out these NPCs, women, men, children, all who have problems, hopes, and dreams. Right when the party is most comfortable, lying down to rest in the inn after a successful adventuring day, have them notice a few of the town's buildings going up in flames. Gnoll hunters snuck in and are putting the buildings to the torch. Have the inn be set ablaze and the party escape out into the chaos. Have your warband hunting the townsfolk who are running everywhere. The Gnolls will probably realize the party is among the strongest, so will attack them last. This will give the party time to thin their ranks. Can your party save the townsfolk? Can they organize a resistance in the chaos? The key note with this encounter is the unexpected strike. They are attacking suddenly and ruthlessly, and they're using the fire to create chaos. Gnolls thrive on chaos, so bring chaos into the encounter. This encounter is designed to highlight that ruthlessness and surprise. The emotional attachment they've developed with the townsfolk will make the impact of the Gnolls felt. This should 100% be NPCs that the party grew to love and get absolutely wrecked by the Gnoll raid. In Volos, there is some box text that describes a wizard who melds minds with a Gnoll. While at first he finds the experiment revolting, on successive attempts he finds the sense of purpose and belonging intoxicating and becomes part of the Gnoll pack. This has huge storytelling potential because you can actually have an intelligent big bad as the head of the Gnolls. This could introduce a researcher in a city trying to unravel the mysteries of Gnolls, and later in the campaign show the researcher fallen into madness, attacking villagers with his teeth, acting just like a feral Gnoll. The sky's the limit here. It could be an old friend, a mind flayer, any humanoid, even a pirate. Have fun with it. Gnolls are pretty stupid. They don't think much, and as such they can be easily manipulated. They make excellent minions for your big bad. Imagine a military general who convinces a warband of gnolls to attack an enemy encampment. Win or lose, the general's army would attack the winner, wiping out the victor while they are in a weakened state. A side note for you and a fun little tip is that gnolls are at their weakest right after feeding. So I would say, mechanically speaking, if they fed, I would reduce their speed by half and maybe give them a disadvantage on attack, something along those lines. I have heard it said that gnolls are lacking in storytelling and tactical depth, and I have to disagree. Gnolls are a fearsome force of nature and have the potential to feel incredibly threatening. I hope this video will give you the tools and inspiration to make a terrifying gnoll encounter. Thank you so much for watching and taking time out of your day to be here with us. We are D&D Daily. We release new D&D content every single day. So if that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you tomorrow.